Okay, guys, so in yesterday's story, they were in topsy-turvy land, or they were in the land of spells, or what happened to them? They turned into giants and they didn't know how they were going to get back down the tree. Sure, should we see what happens? Joe, Moonface, Silky and Saucepan sat down by the hole and thought hard. Silky began to cry. The Saucepan Man looked most uncomfortable. He was very fond of Silky. "Silky, please forgive me for being so careless," he said in a small voice. "I didn't mean to do this. Don't cry, you make me feel dreadful." "It's all right," sobbed Silky, borrowing Moonface's hanky. "I know you didn't mean to, but I can't help feeling dreadfully sad when I think I won't be ever able to see my dear little room in the faraway tree ever again." The Saucepan Man began to cry too. Tears dripped with a splash into his saucepans and kettles. He put his arm around Silky, and 2 or 3 kettle spouts stuck into her. "Don't," she said. "You're sticking into me. Moonface, Joe, can't you think of something to do? Can we possibly squeeze down if we hold our breaths and make ourselves as small as we can?" "Quite impossible," said Moonface gloomily. "Listen, there's someone coming up the ladder." They heard voices, and soon a head popped up out of the hole in the cloud. It was Dave's. He stared in the very greatest surprise at the 4 enormous people sitting by the hole. He climbed up and stood beside them, looking very, very small. Then up came Bessie and Franny. Their eyes nearly fell out of their heads when they saw how big Joe and his friends were. "What happened?" cried Dave. "We began to be worried because you didn't come home, Joe, so we climbed up to see where you were. But why are you so enormous?" Joe told them. Silky sobbed into Moonface's hanky. Bessie put her arm around her. It was funny to feel Silky so very big. Bessie's arm only went halfway around her waist. "And now, you see, we can't get back down the hole," said Joe. "I know what you can do," said Dave suddenly. "What?" cried everyone hopefully. "Why, rub the hole with a spell and it will get bigger, of course," said Dave. "Then you'll be able to get down it." "Why didn't we think of that before?" said Joe, jumping up. "Saucepan, where's the tin with the spell in it?" He picked up the tin, but alas, it was quite empty. Every single drop had been split when Saucepan had fallen over. "Well, never mind," said Moonface, cheering up. "We can go and buy some more from that goblin. Come on." They all set off, Dave, Bessie and Franny looking very small indeed next to the others. They went up to the goblin who'd sold them the spell. "May we have another tin of that spell you sold us just now?" said Moonface, holding out the empty tin. "I've not the teeniest drop left," said the goblin, "and I can't make any more till the full moon comes. It can only be made in the moonlight." Everyone looked so miserable that the goblin felt sorry for them. "Why do you look so unhappy?" he said. "What's happened?" Joe told him everything. The goblin listened with great interest. Then he smiled. "Well, my dear boy," he said, "if you can't get a spell to make the hole big, why don't you buy a spell to make yourself small?" "My brother, the green goblin over there, sells that kind of spell. Only be careful not to put too much on yourselves, or you may go smaller than you mean to." They all went over to the green goblin. He was yelling on the top of his voice, "Buy my wonderful and most amazing spell! It will make anything as small as you like. Have you an enemy? Dab him with this and see him shrink to the size of a mouse. Have you too big a nose? Dab it with this and make it the right size. Oh, wonderful, astonishing, amazing!" Everyone hurried up. Moonface took some money out of his purse. "I'll have the spell, please," he said. The green goblin gave him a tin. The spell in it looked like paint, just as the other one had done. "Now go slow," said the goblin. "You don't want to get too small. Try a little at a time." Moonface dabbed a little on Silky. She went a bit smaller. He dabbed again. She went smaller still. "Is she the right size yet?" asked Moonface. Everyone stared at Silky. "Not quite," said Bessie, "but she's almost, Moonface, so be careful with your next dab." Moonface was very careful. At the next dab of the spell, Silky went exactly to her right size. She was so pleased. "Now you, Joe," said Moonface. So he dabbed Joe and got Joe back to his right size again too. Then he tried dabbing the Saucepan Man and soon got him right. His kettles and saucepan were right too. It was funny to watch them. Now I'll do you, Moonface, said Joe. No thanks, I'll do myself, said Moonface. He dabbed the spell onto himself and shrank smaller. He dabbed again and went smaller still. Then he stopped dabbing and put the brush down. You're not quite your ordinary size yet, said Joe. I know, said Moonface, but I always thought I was a bit on the short side. Now I'm just about right. I always wanted to be a bit taller. I shan't dab myself any more. Everyone laughed. It was so funny to see Moonface a bit taller than usual. As he stood there and laughed, a curious cold wind began to blow. Ooh. Moonface looked around and began to shout, Quick! Quick! The land of spells is on the move! Hurry, hurry, before we get left behind! Everyone got a shock. Good gracious! It would never do to be left behind. Just as everyone had got small enough to go down the hole in the clouds, they set off to the hole. The wind blew more and more strongly. Ooh! And suddenly the sun went out. It was almost as if somebody had blown it out, Joe thought. At once darkness fell on the land of spells. Take hold of hands! Take hold of hands! Shouted Joe. We shall lose one another if we don't. They all took hold of one another's hands and called out their names to make sure everyone was there. They stumbled on through the darkness. There's the hole! Cried Joe at last, and down he went. He felt the ladder and climbed down that too. The others followed one by one, pushing close behind in the dark, longing to get down the faraway tree they knew so well. How lovely it would be to sit in Moonface's room and feel safe. But down at the bottom of the ladder, there was no faraway tree. Instead, to Joe's astonishment, there was a narrow passage, lit by a swinging green lantern. I say, he said to the others, what's this? Where's the faraway tree? Uh-oh. We've come down the wrong hole, groaned Moonface. Oh, goodness, what bad luck. Well, where are we? Said Dave in wonder. I don't know, said Moonface. We'd better follow this passage and see where it leads to. It's no use climbing back and trying to find the right hole. We'll never find it in the dark. And anyway, I'm pretty sure the land of spells has moved on by now. Everyone felt very sad. Joe led the way down the passage. It twisted and turned, went up and down, and it was lighted here and there by the green lanterns swinging on the roof. At last they came to a big yellow door. On it was a blue knocker, a blue bell, a blue letterbox, and a blue notice that said, Mr. Changeabout, knock once, ring twice, and rattle the letterbox. Joe knocked once, very loudly. Then he rang twice, and everyone heard the bell going, ring, ring. Then he rattled the letterbox. The door didn't open. It completely disappeared. It was most peculiar. 1 minute it was there, and the next it was gone, and there was nothing in front of them. They could see right into a big underground room. At the end of it, by a roaring fire, a round, fat person was sitting. That must be Mr. Changeabout, whispered Dave. Dare we go in? Right. I'm going to have to wait till Monday to find out what happens, guys. Do you think they're going to go inside? Do you think they... Oh, I'm scared. I wonder they're going to go inside. Another adventure.
I know.
We're going to have to wait till Monday, guys. Have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Bye.